The huge alien ship came out of space above Earth. It was bigger than any building humans had ever made. The ship belonged to the Xelarian Dominion, a powerful empire that ruled over many worlds. Commander Vexar stood on the bridge of his ship. He looked at Earth through the windows. His eyes were different from human eyes. They could see in many directions at once. He watched the blue and green planet below. "This world is called System 437 Bits," said his assistant. "The creatures living there call themselves humans." Vexar made a clicking sound with his mouth. This meant he was happy. "They are very primitive. Look at their small space stations. Their ships can barely leave their own solar system." The scanners showed Earth's defenses. There were some satellites with weapons. There were a few ships near the moon. Nothing that worried Vexar. "Sir, our spies say these humans just learned to travel faster than light," reported another alien officer. "They did this only 100 years ago. They are babies compared to us." Vexar turned to his crew. "Prepare all our warships. These humans will make good slaves. They can work in our mines on other planets." Down on Earth, things were very different. In a military base deep underground, General Marcus Hayes watched his screens. Red lights were flashing everywhere. Alarms were ringing. "Sir, we have over 50 alien ships coming out of hyperspace," said Captain Lisa Morgan. She was Marcus's most trusted officer. "They match the profile we've been preparing for." Marcus nodded slowly. So it finally happened. Aliens have come, and they don't look friendly. He pressed a button on his desk. "Send a message to the President. Tell him we need to start Protocol 7. "Protocol 7. "Sir," Lisa asked, "are you sure?" "Yes. We've been waiting for this day for 20 years. Time to show these aliens what humans can do." In the White House, President Andrew Clark sat with his military advisors. The room was full of serious faces. Everyone knew this was the most important day in human history. "Mr. President, the aliens are sending us a message," said Admiral Jack Porter. He put the message on the main screen. The message was simple and scary. "People of Earth, we are the Xelarian Dominion. We rule 1,000 worlds. Your planet now belongs to us. You have 24 hours to surrender. If you refuse, we will destroy your cities. You will become our slaves. This is not a discussion. This is an order." President Clark read the message 3 times. Then he looked around the room. "Well, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think?" General Patricia Williams spoke first. "Sir, they think we're weak because we're new to space travel. They don't know our history." "That's right," added Admiral Porter. "They don't know that humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We're very good at it." The president stood up. "Then let's teach them a lesson. How long until our special projects are ready?" "They've been ready for years, sir," said Porter with a small smile. "We just need your order." Back on the alien ship, Commander Vexar was feeling confident. He had conquered many worlds before. This would be easy. "Send our demands to every human government," he ordered. "Tell them resistance is stupid. We have better technology. We have more ships. They cannot win." But Vexar didn't know something important about humans. He didn't know that Earth had been preparing for this day. Hidden in mountains, under oceans, and on the dark side of the moon, humanity had built weapons and ships that nobody knew about. As the 24-hour countdown began, people all over Earth got the same message from their governments. "Stay calm. We are ready. Humanity will not surrender." The Xelarians had made their first mistake. They had threatened Earth. They were about to learn why that was very, very dangerous. Ambassador Zixtel appeared in the middle of the United Nations building. One moment, the room was empty. The next moment, he was there. His body was made of something that looked like crystal. He was 3 meters tall and glowed with a soft blue light. The human delegates rushed into the meeting room. They had been waiting for the aliens to make contact. Secretary General Maria Rodriguez walked to the front of the room. She was not afraid, even though the alien was much bigger than her. "Welcome to Earth," Maria said calmly. "I am the leader of the United Nations. We speak for all humans." Zixtel looked down at the small human. His voice sounded like breaking glass. "I bring the final warning from the Xelarian Dominion. You have 12 hours left. Surrender now, or we will destroy you." Maria smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew something important. "We have a different idea. We think you should leave. Go back to your empire and forget about Earth." The alien's crystal body flashed red. This showed he was angry. "You dare to threaten us? The Xelarian Dominion has lived for 10,000 years. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. You humans have existed for barely a moment. You know nothing about war." "That's interesting," Maria said. She picked up a tablet from the table. "We have something to show you." She slid the tablet across the table to the alien. Zixtel touched the tablet with one of his crystal fingers. The screen came to life. It showed pictures and videos of human history. Wars, battles, weapons, and strategies filled the screen. "What is this?" the alien asked. "This is our history," Maria explained. "Every war we've ever fought, every weapon we've ever made, every strategy we've ever used. We've been killing each other since we learned to walk. War is not new to us. War is what we do best." The alien watched the images. Ancient humans with spears, knights with swords, soldiers with guns, tanks rolling across fields, planes dropping bombs, nuclear explosions turning cities to dust. "You see," Maria continued, "we don't just fight wars. We study them. We have schools that teach nothing but war. We have games about war. We have books about war. Our children play war games. War is part of who we are." Zixtel's glow dimmed slightly. "These are just images. Your primitive weapons cannot hurt our ships." Maria's smile grew wider. "Primitive. Let me tell you something about humans. We went from throwing rocks to splitting atoms in just a few thousand years. We went from horses to spaceships in less than 200 years. When humans need to fight, we get creative very quickly." The alien ambassador was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke again. "You cannot win. Our technology is superior." "Maybe," Maria said. "But we have something you don't understand. We have the will to fight. We have the ability to sacrifice everything. And we have been preparing for this day since we first looked at the stars." Zixtel straightened up. "I will report this to Commander Vexar, but it changes nothing. You have 12 hours. After the alien disappeared, Maria turned to her assistants. "Send the signal. Start Phase 1. On the alien mothership, Zixtel appeared before Commander Vexar. The commander was studying maps of Earth's major cities, planning his attack. "Well?" Vexar asked. "Did they surrender?" "No, Commander. The humans. They are different from other species we have conquered." Zixtel showed Vexar the tablet. "Look at their history. They have been fighting constantly. They have weapons designed just to cause fear. They created bombs that poison the land for generations. They fight wars over ideas, not just resources." Vexar looked at the images and laughed. It was a harsh, metallic sound. "Let them have their violent history. Our plasma cannons will burn their cities. Our shields will stop their primitive weapons. Begin the countdown." "Commander," Zixtel said carefully, "perhaps we should reconsider. These humans seem dangerous." "Dangerous?" Vexar's eyes flashed. "They haven't even colonized their own solar system. They are nothing. In 12 hours, Earth will belong to the Dominion." But back on Earth, something was happening. Secret facilities were opening. Hidden weapons were activating. Humans were doing what they did best, preparing for war. The first Xelarian attack came exactly 12 hours later. Bright beams of plasma fire rained down from space. They hit New York, London, Tokyo, and other big cities. Buildings melted like ice cream in the sun. The aliens expected to see panic. They expected humans to run and scream and beg for mercy. Instead, something strange happened. Every television, radio, and phone on Earth showed the same message. A simple sentence that made the aliens pause. They want to fight. Let's give them one they'll never forget. The plasma beams stopped hitting empty buildings. During the 12 hours of warning, every major city had been evacuated. The humans had moved underground, into bunkers that had been built in secret over many years. In Geneva, the World Council met in an underground chamber. Dr. Catherine Wells stood before the leaders of Earth. She was the head of Earth's secret defense projects. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, for 50 years, we have pretended to be peaceful explorers. We showed the galaxy only what we wanted them to see. Now it's time to show them what we really are. She pressed a button. The wall behind her lit up with images of hidden bases, secret weapons, and ships that nobody knew existed. We learned something important when we first detected alien signals, Dr. Wells continued. The galaxy is dangerous, so we prepared. Every nation on Earth has been part of this secret. Now we use what we built. Deep inside Cheyenne Mountain, Colonel Dan Mitchell sat at a control panel. His team had been waiting for this moment their entire careers. Remove all safety protocols from the AI combat systems, Mitchell ordered. Wake up the Ghost Fleet. It's time to fight. Across the solar system, things began to move. Ships that had been hidden inside asteroids powered up their engines. Bases on the dark side of the moon opened their doors. Submarines in Earth's deepest oceans launched into space. The most impressive ship was the U.S. Vengeance. It had been built in secret over 10 years. Captain Amanda Foster stood on its bridge as the ship left its hiding place inside Mars' moon Phobos. Captain, all systems are online, reported Lieutenant Jake Turner. Weapons charged. Shields at maximum. The crew is ready. Foster looked at the tactical display. It showed the Xilarian fleet bombing Earth. How many enemy ships? 53, Captain. They think they're winning. Foster smiled. It was not a nice smile. Let's teach them why humans are classified as Deathworlders in those secret alien files we stole. All ships, prepare to engage. Commander Vexar watched his tactical display with satisfaction. Earth's cities were burning. Soon the humans would surrender. Commander, shouted his sensor officer. Unknown ships appearing from multiple locations. They're coming from inside the Earth's oceans. Impossible. Vexar turned to look. His compound eyes widened in shock. Ships were rising from Earth's oceans, mountains, and polar ice caps. They were unlike anything he had seen before. These human ships were not pretty. They were built for one purpose: destruction. They had weapons pointing in every direction. Their hulls were covered in armor that seemed to bend light around them. Sir, we're detecting over 200 combat vessels, the officer reported. And something else. Millions of small objects launching from the planet's surface. General Kim Patterson commanded Earth's defense from Strategic Command. She watched as humanity's true military power revealed itself. Launch the swarm, she ordered. Show them why messing with humans was their biggest mistake. Millions of tiny drones, each no bigger than a tennis ball, flew into space. They moved like angry bees, surrounding the Xilarian ships. These drones were humanity's special weapon. Small, smart, and deadly. The battle began. Xilarian plasma beams met human railguns. Alien shields clashed with human missiles. The space above Earth became a storm of fire and metal. Captain Rick Coleman commanded the U.S. Retribution. He watched a Xilarian destroyer try to retreat. "Oh no," he said. "You started this. Now you'll finish it. Target their engines. I want them to know fear." The aliens were learning something terrible. Humans didn't just fight to win. Humans fought to make sure their enemies never forgot the lesson. The space above Earth looked like a storm of metal and fire. The tiny human drones moved like a cloud of angry insects. They surrounded the Xilarian ships. attacking from every direction at once. Commander Vexar watched his tactical display in horror. His proud warships were being torn apart by machines no bigger than children's toys. "What are these things?" he shouted. "Destroy them." His weapons officer was frantically pressing buttons. "Sir, we can't target them. They're too small and too many. Our systems can't lock onto them." The drones worked together like a hive mind. When one found a weak spot in a ship's shields, thousands more would swarm to that spot. They cut through metal like tiny buzzsaws. They crawled into weapon ports and destroyed them from inside. On Earth, Dr. Elena Cruz watched the battle from her laboratory. She had designed the drone swarm. "Look at them," she said to her team. 5 years of work, and they're perfect. We studied Earth's insects, ants, bees, termites. We learned how they work together. Then we made it better." The swarm had one terrible purpose: to dismantle enemy ships piece by piece. Each drone carried a tiny bit of antimatter. When they attached to an enemy hull, they would detonate in sequence, creating holes that other drones could enter. Captain Rachel Green commanded the drone control ship U.S. Hive. Swarm Alpha, target their engine systems. Swarm Beta, go for their weapon arrays. Swarm Gamma, find their shield generators. The drones obeyed instantly. They moved in perfect coordination, like a deadly ballet in space. Silurian fighters tried to escape, but the drones followed them everywhere. There was no hiding from the swarm. Meanwhile, the human ghost fleet struck from impossible angles. These ships used technology that the aliens thought was impossible. They could fold space around themselves, appearing and disappearing like phantoms. The U.S. Shadow Strike emerged from a fold in space right behind a Silurian battleship. Captain Steve Murphy gave the order: "Fire everything we have. Show them human engineering." The Shadow Strike unleashed weapons that defied physics. Graviton cannons that crushed metal like paper. Quantum torpedoes that phased through shields. Particle beams that turned matter into energy. Back on the Silurian command ship, panic was spreading. Officers shouted reports that made no sense. "Sir, their ships are appearing inside our formation." "Sir, our shields aren't working against their weapons." "Sir, the swarm has breached Deck 7. Vexar's second-in-command, Sub-Commander Crixel, tried to maintain order. "How is this possible? These humans just learned space travel. Their technology should be primitive." But Dr. James Park, watching from Earth's Advanced Weapons Laboratory, knew the answer. Humans had a secret. When they found alien technology from crashed UFOs over the years, they didn't just copy it. They improved it. They combined it with human ideas. They made it better. The battle was turning into a massacre. Silurian ships that had conquered worlds were being destroyed by an enemy they couldn't understand. Ships that were invisible to sensors. Drones that thought for themselves. Weapons that ignored the laws of physics. General Patricia Williams coordinated the assault from Strategic Command. Phase 3 begins now. Release the Predator drones. These new drones were different. Bigger, smarter, and designed for one thing: hunting. They locked onto individual Silurian ships and pursued them relentlessly. When one Predator drone found a target, it called others. They worked in packs, like wolves in space. The U.S. Nightmare, humanity's stealth dreadnought, decloaked next to Vexar's command ship. Captain Henry Jones broadcast a message. "Attention, Silurian Commander. You wanted to see human warfare. How do you like it so far?" Vexar looked at his dying fleet. Half his ships were gone. The rest were damaged and trying to retreat. The swarm was everywhere. The ghost ships appeared and disappeared like deadly spirits. "This is impossible," he whispered. "We are the Silurian Dominion. We have conquered 1,000 worlds." His tactical officer turned to him, fear in his compound eyes. "Sir, they're not trying to defeat us. They're trying to send a message. They want the galaxy to see what happens when you attack Earth." The human swarm continued its deadly dance. The ghost fleet struck again and again. And watching from Earth, humanity prepared to show the aliens something even worse. While the battle raged in space, a small human ship approached the Xelarian command vessel. It carried no weapons. It broadcast a signal of truce. This was not a warship. This was something more dangerous. A human diplomat with a plan. Ambassador Grace Park stood on the bridge of the diplomatic courier vessel. She watched the massive alien dreadnought grow larger in the view screen. The ship was damaged, but still dangerous. Drone swarm scars covered its hull like metallic pockmarks. "Ma'am, they're responding to our signal," reported pilot Tony Martinez. His hands were steady on the controls, but sweat beaded on his forehead. "They're allowing us to dock." Grace nodded. She wore a simple black suit and carried a metal briefcase. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp like a hawk's. "Good. Remember the plan. If something goes wrong, you jump to hyperspace immediately." "But ma'am, that would leave you." "That's an order, Lieutenant." Grace's voice was firm. "My job is to end this war. Your job is to report back if I fail." The small ship docked with the alien dreadnought. Grace walked through the airlock alone. 4 Xelarian guards waited for her. They were twice her height, covered in chitinous armor. Their weapons pointed at her. "I am Ambassador Grace Park of Earth," she said calmly. "I request an audience with Commander Vexar." The guards led her through corridors filled with damage. Sparks flew from broken panels. Injured Xelarians lay in the halls. The proud Empire's flagship was hurt. In the command center, Vexar waited. His compound eyes studied the small human. Around him, his officers watched tactical displays showing their fleet being destroyed. "You come to surrender?" Vexar asked. His voice dripped with anger and wounded pride. Grace smiled. It was a polite, diplomatic smile that didn't reach her eyes. "No, Commander. I'm here to explain why you should surrender." The bridge erupted in angry clicks and hisses, Xelarian laughter. Vexar's mandibles spread in amusement. "You jest. We are the Xelarian Dominion. We do not surrender to primitives." "Primitives." Grace opened her briefcase. Inside was a small silver device about the size of a phone. "Let me show you something interesting." She pressed a button on the device. Suddenly, every screen on the bridge flickered. The tactical displays changed. They now showed the same message in Xelarian script. "System compromised. Have a nice day." "What have you done?" Vexar roared. "This is a quantum viral bomb," Grace explained calmly. "It's already interfaced with your ship's systems. In about 30 seconds, it will rewrite the base code of every computer in your fleet." "Impossible." Vexar slammed his clawed hand on his command chair. "Our systems are protected by quantum encryption. They cannot be hacked." Grace's smile widened slightly. "Your systems are based on quantum crystalline matrices. Very advanced, very sophisticated. We've been studying them for the past 6 hours." 6 hours? That's not enough time to. "Commander, humans have a gift. When our survival is threatened, we learn very fast. Your quantum encryption is impressive. It took us almost 3 hours to crack it. The other 3 hours were spent creating this virus." The countdown on the device reached 0. Every system on every Xelarian ship shut down at once. Weapons went offline. Shields dropped. Engines stopped. The mighty Dominion fleet was suddenly defenseless. "By the way," Grace added conversationally, "this virus doesn't just shut down your systems. It rewrites them. Your ships now respond only to human command codes. Your Empire's greatest war fleet now belongs to Earth." Vexar stared at the small device in horror. "This is impossible. We are an empire of 10,000 years. You are nothing." "We are humans," Grace corrected. "We survived ice ages. We survived plagues. We survived each other. We survived by being smarter, faster, and more ruthless than anything that tried to kill us. You made a mistake, Commander. You threatened our home." Around them, the bridge screens began showing images of more human ships arriving. Not hundreds, thousands. They had been hiding, waiting for this moment. "Now," Grace said, closing her briefcase, "shall we discuss terms?" With their fleet helpless and their systems under human control, the Xilarians had no choice. They sat in their darkened command ship and listened. Every screen in the galaxy now showed the same broadcast. Humanity was teaching the universe a history lesson. Professor Alan Brooks stood in a simple classroom. Behind him was a plain white wall. His gray hair and kind eyes made him look like everyone's favorite grandfather. But his words were sharp as knives. "Hello, Galaxy," he began. "I'm Professor Brooks from Earth University. Today's lesson is about humans and war. Please pay attention. There won't be a test, but failing to understand might cost you your empire." The screen showed images from human history. Cave paintings of ancient battles appeared first. "The Xilarian Dominion has existed for 8,000 years, Brooks continued. "In that time, according to their own records, they'd fought 12 major wars. 12 wars in 8,000 years. That's impressive." He paused and smiled. "Humans have existed as a species for about 300,000 years. In our recorded history alone, just the last 5,000 years, we've had over 15,000 wars. That's 3 wars every year." The images change. Egyptian armies, Greek soldiers, Roman legions, Vikings in longships, knights in armor. Each image appeared for just a moment. "We didn't just fight wars," Brooks explained. "We studied them. We created entire schools dedicated to warfare. We wrote books about strategy. We turned conflict into science." Commander Vexar watched from his powerless ship. Around him, his officers were silent. Ambassador Grace Park stood nearby, also watching. The images continued. Guns appeared. Cannons, tanks, airplanes, each weapon more deadly than the last. "Look at our progression," Brooks said. "Stone axes to steel swords, 2,000 years. Swords to guns, 500 years. Guns to nuclear weapons, 400 years. Nuclear weapons to antimatter drives, 100 years. Do you see the pattern? We get better at killing faster each time." The screen showed military academies, West Point, Sandhurst, the Naval War College. Young humans studying maps and strategies. "We have schools that teach nothing but war. Children play war games. Adults simulate battles for entertainment. We have a word, wargaming. That means practicing war for fun." Captain Sarah Lewis of the U.S. Defiance added her voice to the broadcast. She stood on her bridge, battle damage visible behind her. "We're not proud of our violent history," she said, "but we learned from it. Every defeat taught us to be stronger. Every victory taught us to be smarter. Every war taught us to be more dangerous." The images shifted to show human martial arts. Karate, judo, Krav Maga, boxing, wrestling. "We even fight without weapons," Brooks continued. "We created hundreds of ways to kill with our bare hands. We call them martial arts, the art of war." Then came images of human psychology and war. Propaganda posters, spy networks, codes and code breaking. "We don't just fight with weapons," Brooks explained. "We fight with minds. We created entire fields of study about defeating enemies without firing a shot. Psychology, information warfare, economic warfare, social engineering." The final images were the most frightening. Nuclear bombs, biological weapons, chemical warfare, cyber attacks, nano weapons. "When threatened, humans don't just fight back," Brooks said quietly. "We revolutionize warfare itself. We find new ways to win. We break rules that others didn't know existed." The broadcast showed one last image. Earth, blue and beautiful in space. "This is our home," Brooks finished. "We fought each other for thousands of years to control small parts of it. Now imagine what we'll do to protect all of it." The screens went dark for a moment. Then they showed live footage of the Xilarian fleet, disabled and surrounded by human ships. Admiral Jennifer Stone appeared on screen. This lesson is free. The next one won't be. Choose wisely. In the silence that followed, every spacefaring civilization in the galaxy understood. Humans were not just another species. They were evolution's answer to warfare itself. The battle was over, but the real shock was about to begin. Deep space monitoring stations across the galaxy detected massive energy spikes. They appeared at every Xilarian colony, every military base, every homeworld. The readings were identical. Millions of tiny signals, dormant but ready. President Andrew Clark appeared on every screen in the Xilarian command ship. His face was calm, but his eyes were cold as winter. Behind him stood the Joint Chiefs of Earth's military. Commander Vexar. The president began. 20 years ago, humanity made first contact with alien traders. We learned about your empire. We learned about your methods. And we prepared. Vexar's compound eyes narrowed. What have you done? 20 years ago, we seeded your entire empire with dormant nanoprobes, Clark explained. They're in your atmosphere. They're in your water. They're in your food chains. They're in your bodies. The Xilarian officers began checking their scanners frantically. The readings confirmed the president's words. Microscopic machines were everywhere in their empire. One signal from Earth, Clark continued, and every Xilarian world becomes uninhabitable within hours. The nanoprobes are programmed to target specific Xilarian biological markers. They're harmless to every other species. You're bluffing, Vexar said, but his voice shook with fear. General Patricia Williams stepped forward. Are we? Your species has copper-based blood. The nanoprobes are designed to oxidize copper at an accelerated rate. Your people would suffocate in their own bodies. Dr. Robert Chung, Earth's leading xenobiologist, appeared on another screen. He held up a sealed container with blue liquid. This is Stellarian blood, provided by your own traders years ago. Watch. He added a single drop of clear liquid to the blue blood. Within seconds, the blood turned black and solidified. That's one nanoprobe activating. You have trillions in your empire. Vexar slumped in his command chair. How? How did you spread them without us knowing? Humans excel at long-term planning, President Clark said. We used your own trade networks. We sold you exotic Earth goods, spices, fabrics, art, all contaminated with dormant nanoprobes. You spread them yourselves. Ambassador Grace Park spoke up. For 20 years, every human merchant was part of the plan. Every trade ship carried the probes. Every gift to Xilarian officials was a weapon. We knew someday someone would threaten Earth. We prepared accordingly. The Xilarian second-in-command, Crixel, asked desperately, what about other species? Did you poison the entire galaxy? No, Dr. Chung answered. The probes only affect Xilarian biology. We're not monsters. We just protect ourselves very thoroughly. The command center fell silent. The mighty Xilarian Dominion, ruler of 1,000 worlds, was held hostage by microscopic machines. Their entire species could be wiped out with one command from Earth. You have two options, President Clark said. Option 1. We activate the nanoprobes. Your species goes extinct within a week. Option 2. We deactivate them permanently, and you leave Earth alone forever. How do we know you'll keep your word? Vexar asked weakly. Admiral Jack Porter answered, because humans prefer peace to genocide. We could have activated the probes the moment you threatened us. We didn't. We're giving you a choice. General Marcus Hayes added, besides, dead species can't tell others to leave Earth alone. We want you alive to spread the message. The irony was crushing. The Xilarians had come to enslave Earth. Instead, they found themselves completely at humanity's mercy. Their survival depended on human kindness, the very quality they had seen as weakness. Your Excellencies, Grace Park said to the Xilarian leadership, you need to confer. Decide your species' future. But remember, we've been patient for 20 years. That patience has limits. As the Xelarian leaders gathered to discuss their surrender, monitoring stations detected more human ships appearing throughout their empire. Each ship carried the power to activate the nanoprobes in that sector. The galaxy watched in stunned silence. The newest spacefaring species had just defeated one of the oldest empires, and they had done it before the war even started. The peace treaty was signed on Earth, in the same United Nations building where Ambassador Zixtel had delivered his threats just days before. The galaxy watched as the mighty Xelarian Dominion bowed before humanity. But what happened next surprised everyone. President Andrew Clark stood at the podium, flanked by leaders from every Earth nation. Commander Vexar and his officers sat at a long table, their proud heads lowered in defeat. "Let me be clear," Clark began. "We could take everything from you. Your ships, your worlds, your empire. The nanoprobes give us that power. But we won't." Vexar looked up, confusion in his compound eyes. "You won't. We want peace," Clark continued. "Real peace. Not the peace of conquerors and slaves, but the peace of neighbors who respect each other." The terms were simple. Earth would deactivate all nanoprobes permanently. The Xelarian Dominion would recognize Earth's sovereignty. Trade would be allowed. Cultural exchange would be encouraged. But any threat to Earth or human colonies would result in immediate response. "We'll even return your fleet," Admiral Jennifer Stone announced. "Your ships will be restored to full function. You're free to leave." Zixtel, who had become the permanent liaison to Earth, asked the question everyone was thinking. "Why? You defeated us completely. Why show mercy?" A young human soldier, Private Alex Chen, stepped forward. He was just 20 years old, barely an adult by human standards. But he had fought in the battle, had seen friends die. "Because we've learned something from all our wars," Alex said. "Conquest is easy. Peace is hard. We choose the harder path. We've spent thousands of years learning to kill. Maybe it's time we learned something else." The treaty signing was broadcast across the galaxy. Species that had hidden from the Xelarians watched in amazement. The humans had won total victory, then chose reconciliation over revenge. In the weeks that followed, something unexpected happened. Alien delegations began arriving at Earth, not to threaten or demand, but to establish embassies. The Altarians, the Vegan Collective, the Centauri Federation, all wanted relations with humanity. "We misjudged you," the Altarian ambassador admitted. "We thought your violent history made you dangerous. Now we see it made you wise. You know the cost of war better than anyone." Earth's response was typically human. They opened schools to teach alien languages. They shared medical knowledge. They offered defensive alliances to smaller species threatened by larger empires. But they also made something very clear. At the Galactic Assembly, General Patricia Williams delivered humanity's message. "Earth extends the hand of friendship to all. We'll trade, we'll explore, we'll be good neighbors. But understand this, we are the children of a death world. We survived ice ages, predators, diseases, and each other. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day. And we won." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Threaten us, and you'll discover why humans are classified as the galaxy's most lethal species. Be our friends, and you'll find no better ally in the universe." The Ghost Fleet was recalled to hidden bases, but everyone knew it was still there. The drone swarms were deactivated, but the factories that built them remained ready. Earth's true defenses returned to the shadows, waiting. In a small cafe in Geneva, General Marcus Hayes raised a toast with his old squad. They had all survived the battle, though some carried scars. "To peace," he said, lifting his glass, "and to being too dangerous to fight," added Captain Lisa Morgan with a wry smile. As the Xelarian fleet jumped to hyperspace, heading home, Commander Vexar sent one final message to Earth. "We will remember this lesson, and we will teach it to others. Approach Earth with respect, or do not approach at all. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Earth's children, forged in the crucible of countless conflicts, had turned their greatest shame into their greatest strength. And now, finally, they could focus on what they did second best: exploring the stars, making friends, and showing the universe that the most dangerous species could also be the most merciful.